Okay, so I'm going to give you a bit of a breakdown of some of the main technical challenges in Always With Me, Always With You. Here we go. Okay, riff 1. And again. And I'll do that slow. And with this phrase, just be careful on this part. The chromatic descent doesn't end up sounding like a circus kind of music. It's very subtle. It's meant to give a cascading kind of falling effect. And this part, it's really important here because you're playing on a high gain setting, that as you go between the two strings, the 1 and the 3, your finger comes off the previous string, so you go from 1 to 3, but you make sure that the third finger comes clear off the 1 as you go to the 3. And each time as you cross between 1 to 3, the previous finger comes off. So you don't get this kind of... Okay, so... One more time, the whole phrase. Okay, riff 2, or phrase 2. Again. Okay, so apart from the bend at 21, we've got a little bit of legato happening here. So what we're going to do, I'll do this slow. Again. Okay, so what's going to happen, as we bend up at 14, a half bend, and down off to 12. Okay, that's all one pluck. If I just bring the pluck into view there. Okay, so I'm going up, the 14, half bend up, down, pull off, cross my third finger over to 15 on the second string. Now at this point, the important thing here is that I'm going to sweep pick up from my first finger to my third finger, okay, like this. Now, after I've done a sweep picking motion from the 12 on the first string to the 15 on the second string is going to continue to pull off to 14 and then to 15 in one continuous kind of flow. Okay, so we get it's quite important, obviously, your first finger, after it did the bend, after you played the bend from 14 up, down and pulled after your first finger, and you had to leave your first finger there rooted so you could do the sweep from that 12 to the 15, it means that at the very last minute you've got to then get your first finger over to the 12 on the second string, which can be quite tricky to keep it smooth, especially without getting excess noise, but you know. Okay, and that riff is ended with this slide. It's a slide up to 17 on the 1 and back to 14. So we get. Okay, phrase 3. Gets a bit tricky now. Again. One more time. Okay, so what's going on now? I'll break this down and play it slow. Get a bit closer. Okay, now when you listen to a phrase like that, at first you just hear one kind of big riff. But if you listen closely, you'll hear kind of individual little phrases. There's certain pauses, certain breaks. So the first one, okay, now what I'm doing, I'm bridging across the first 3 strings because I'm going to be doing pull-offs on those 3 strings, and it just feels easier for me to keep those strings already ready. Those 3 notes that I'm covering are going to be used, and it's going to save me having to change over at the last minute to get those notes. So what I do, as I do this bend on 9 and the pull off, I've already got the first 3 strings bridged. Just bring the picking hand in here. Now as I go from the first string to the second string, again I'm going to sweep up. So in other words, I'm going to pluck the first string, then I'm going to pluck the second string with one continuous motion. It's effectively 2 plucks because it hits 2 strings, but it feels like one upstroke. Okay, I then follow that with some pull-offs, and that's how you begin to get this smooth flow of notes even as you're crossing strings. It's easy enough when you're doing it on one string with hammers and pulls, but when you try and do that across the different strings, we really need to concentrate on the plucking. So we've got, okay, that's continued with the third string, pulling off the 9 to 7, which then slides to 6 and hammers back on 7 to 9. So we get a shift. That's all one pluck. I'm plucking this 9. Okay, so the phrase. Okay, show that in full. Oops. Okay, from there. Again, there's pull-offs, slides and hammers. The easiest thing I think is once you can get these little separate phrases into your head, and they become individual small riffs like this, and then you just string them together, this sort of big riff that you end up with isn't so hard to achieve. That takes us to that point. Again, full view. Now the last part. It's kind of as simple as it appears, I think. Really, there's no particular technique. I'm in a kind of scale position. You know, if you're not familiar with these kind of scale patterns already, obviously you need to do a bit of groundwork. But from there, that will give us.